Everybody, Done Dissertation Office Hours. I'm your host, Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that you, the doctoral student, can write and defend your dissertation in 1 year or less. So, for today's video, I've seen a lot of doc students, and this was my own experience, right? You've gone through and done all the coursework, you had this accountability structure, you had the support of your cohort mates, and then all of a sudden, when you get to the dissertation process, that all goes away. And you're trying to figure out, how do I write this dissertation all by myself when that hasn't been my experience throughout the doctoral coursework journey? And so this is why in today's video, we're going to talk about all the reasons why you need an accountability partner, what that accountability partner should look like, and how to structure so that you can get through the dissertation process quickly. And again, today's episode is sponsored by the Done Dissertation Velocity Group Coaching Program. And the Done Dissertation Velocity Group Coaching Program is a 4-month coaching experience with the goal to help you, the doctoral student, write and defend either your dissertation proposal or final defense over the next 4 months. So if you're interested in finishing your dissertation in months instead of years, what I want you to do is visit www.velocitydissertation.com to learn more about the program and to apply. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in. We're going to talk about all things accountability. And before we get started, for those who are watching live, if you can let me know who you are, drop a comment, let me know where you're coming from, just so we can build community with one another. I always like to see who's tuning into these lives. And again, if you have any questions at any point while we're chatting, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you're watching this on Instagram, you can add a request to join live. And if you're interested, if you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, and you're interested in joining live, just shoot a comment, say, I want to join live, and then we'll send you over a link to do so. But again, we want to talk about all things accountability today, because it's the one key to the process that a lot of you all don't have, and wondering why that you are not getting through the process in the time that you want to get done with the process. So again, I'm looking forward to having this conversation. Right now is the time where the dissertation process starts to go awry for a lot of folks, and you're starting to see a lot of your friends starting to defend their proposals, defend their final dissertations. You're wondering, well, what's going on? And literally, as I'm recording this, I'm like a couple days after my 7th year anniversary from earning my doctorate. So I know what it's like when you're trying to get through and trying to get to the process, because this is right around the time when I defended. So I know exactly how I was feeling back then. And I definitely don't want you all going through those feelings of not being done because you didn't have the accountability structure to do so. So here's the first thing, right? When we're thinking about all things accountability, we have to be mindful that the dissertation process is already lonely. So you need an accountability partner to bounce ideas off of. You need this support structure in order to get through this process. If you're trying to do this all alone, like literally the dissertation process is not one I recommend to do all alone. Can you do it? For sure, you can definitely do it. But do I recommend it? I definitely do not, because here's why. You're already in kind of like your own cocoon, if you will, trying to do this work. You're trying to put the research together. You're trying to figure out, how the heck do I write this literature review? How am I really going to carry out my study? Like all these questions that you have. And a lot of times what you're doing is you're trying to contemplate and get feedback from yourself. So a lot of times you're doing the work and then you're trying to figure out, well, is this good enough? What's going on? And then you know that if you send it to your dissertation chair, you might not hear back for a couple of weeks. So in the meantime, you're trying to figure out, what do I do with this? And this is why having an accountability partner is key to not only finishing the process, but then staying sane during the process. And I'll give an example. When I was writing my dissertation, shout out to my accountability partner, Dr. Larry Walker, is a professor at the University of Central Florida. And we did our doc work together at Morgan State University. And when we were going through the process, when we got to we started this as during the coursework phase. Like when we first met during orientation, we were just like, yo, we're going to send each other's papers the whole way through. And that's how it started. We initially sent every paper that we wrote for any class. I sent it to Dr. Walker, and Dr. Walker sent his paper to me to take a look at. So not only did that help us like build community with one another, but it helped us like refine our writing style, because we both had different writing styles. So it helped me get sharper as a writer. And it was really impactful. But then when we got to the dissertation phase, even though we were doing two very different studies, we then kept that process up as we went through the dissertation process. So literally, I read all of his dissertation. He did the same for mine. Again, just to give each other feedback, to see things before it got to the chair. And having that accountability structure is key to the process. So if you don't have that accountability structure, you need to get that ASAP. And I know there's a couple of people tuning in from ABD to PhD group on Facebook. So if this is you, I want you to drop a post into the group saying if anybody wants to be accountability partners, because that is the place where we can build community with one another. And this is the magic that happens in our Done Dissertation Velocity Group coaching program for our paid clients, because they're able to build that community, able to have that support structure and that accountability. It is really important to getting through the process. But a lot of us, sometimes we want to be and show that we know all the things. So we're scared to get it, to put ourselves out there, to seek help and to seek support. We rather just kind of curl up in a corner and not do anything and not get through the process rather than just put ourselves out there and get the help. Because again, the accountability partner may point something out to you that will help you kind of make a shift in the process. And why not have that now, um, rather than waiting until you're at your back is against the wall and 6-7 years into the process, now you're up against the deadline from the university to finish your dissertation, or you're going to get kicked out of the program. And literally, we have clients that come up to us all the time who are looking for that support because they are literally up against the deadline. Ron, what's going on, Ron? It's good to see you on. So again, for folks who are just tuning in, let me know in the comments where you're coming from, who you are, just so I can keep up with you all. Again, I want to say thank you all for tuning in. Today's episode, we're talking about all things accountability. And this episode of Office Hours is sponsored by the Done Dissertation Velocity Group Coaching Program. It's a 4-month coaching experience with the goal to help doctoral students write and defend their dissertation proposal or final defense over the next 4 months. If you want to learn more about the program, visit www.velocitydissertation.com. So again, all things accountability. First step is that you got to have accountability partner because they will keep you staying in the process and help you get through, because you've had all this structure during coursework and you want to keep that structure moving forward. It just makes your process so much easier and so much more impactful because you have somebody you can bounce ideas off of. And best believe, I will put this in there, when Dr. Walker and I, we had experiences that would happen and we were ready to go off in the process, we kept each other like saying like, nah, don't do that. That might ruin things for you as you move forward. So again, you need somebody sometimes to keep you together, because this process can bring you to levels of frustration that you did not imagine. Dr. Juanita, what's going on? And so again, we first start there. But the second piece that we got to start thinking about is that your accountability partners help you not get into what I call dissertation intoxication. So the reason why accountability partners are key is because during this process, it happens to us all at some point. We get so consumed with the dissertation that a lot of other things go to the wayside at times. And I've seen this happen for myself as well as for my clients. And what ends up happening is that what I call dissertation intoxication. When you become so consumed that the dissertation process is almost like a drug, it intoxicates you to a point that you are not able to function. And here's how sometimes it will look. It will look like you're working at all hours of the night. You're not getting adequate sleep. And when you're not getting adequate sleep, when you get up in the morning and whatever time you get up, you're trying to function as if you had a full night's rest. You're not able to function. And you just start forgetting simple things. Just to give an example, when I was writing my dissertation, even during coursework, I got so consumed with everything else that was going on that I remember one time I was leaving the house and I left the refrigerator door open, the phone off the hook, and then I think the door was partially open or something like that. Like crazy. My wife, Renee, was just like, what are you doing? Like, you need to get it together. And this is why when you have these accountability structures, it will help you to not get to that point of exhaustion. I know in my class, so I teach a class this semester with doctoral students who are writing their dissertation proposals. And we literally had that conversation last week. It was like right around this time, we just know that, hey, this is a great time when you need to give yourself a day break to do something that's fun for yourself. That even though you'll be thinking about the dissertation, but just that step away will give you some clarity. And so when you come back, you'll look at it with a whole new and fresh perspective, and things will get a lot easier to do the writing. Again, the dissertation process is such a taxing and grueling journey that you have to have these accountability structures in place in order to give yourself time away. Without time away, you won't finish, because you can't be doing this every day, all day. It's just not feasible. You all have lives, families, children, spouses, etc., busy professional duties. Like, all these things matter. And for you to stay concerned and consumed with the dissertation process is not good for you. And it's definitely not good for your mental health. So you definitely need accountability partners, somebody who's going to pull you away from the dissertation process. And in my book, 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation, I refer to this type of accountability as a reality check partner. So they keep reality in perspective for you, so that when you are just going off the course, they're able to pull you back and like, hey, come back. This is, you need to get back on track. You need a break, all those things. And in our Velocity Group Coaching Program, we have a client who's getting ready to defend tomorrow. And that was a conversation we had last week as well when we did, when I was doing her dissertation defense prep session. And we talked about that. I said, what are you going to do for yourself? What self-care thing are you going to do for yourself over the next week? Just take a step back. Like, you've done so much work getting ready for this defense. Like, you need a second to just breathe, and then you can do your defense tomorrow. So hopefully next week I have some great news for you all on that student who has successfully defended their dissertation. And shout out to Derek Robinson, Dr. Derek Robinson, who says that no one can get through this alone and sane. Yo, that's a fact. No one can definitely get the dissertation process alone. Yeah, and the sanity is more important. Like, there's no need to do this dissertation process and come out battered and wounded in a way that you're not useful to anybody with the doctorate. And I've seen a lot of folks who have been in these doctoral programs and been beat down, and they gotten to the point where they did everything they could do to finish their dissertation, and then they are burnt out by the end. And I don't want you all to get to this idea of being burnt out in the process. Thanks, Dr. Robinson, for that. It's really important that we think about that and consider it. And so again, if you all have any questions that pop up or things you're thinking about, feel free to drop them in the comments. Again, this episode of Done Dissertation Office Hours is all about accountability for those who are just tuning in. And in particular, this episode of Done Dissertation Office Hours is sponsored by the Done Dissertation Velocity Group Coaching Program. The Done Dissertation Velocity Group Coaching Program is a 4-month coaching experience with the goal of helping a doctoral student write and defend their dissertation proposal or final defense over the next 4 months. So if you're looking to finish your dissertation quickly, to have that accountability structure to get done with the dissertation process, I invite you to visit www.velocitydissertation.com. You can learn more about the program and apply there directly. So again, all things accountability. First things first is that once we have our accountability partner, they help us stay sane. Second is that our accountability partner will help us avoid dissertation intoxication. And then thirdly, what we got to start thinking about, right, is if we don't, and if our free accountability is not working, right? So it might be a friend, a family, whoever it is, a classmate. If free isn't working for you, paid accountability may be the way you need to turn your attention to. Because here's what I know: people don't pay attention until they pay something. And a lot of us, if you've been going through the dissertation process, you've been trying to do it alone, or you had your accountability partner, but you've been blowing them off, right? And what this looks like is for some of you all say, yeah, I have an accountability partner. And then we say we're going to meet every Friday, but every Friday, because you don't have anything done, you just say, y'all, I can't meet this Friday. I'll catch up with y'all next week. And then next week turns to next month, and next month turns to next year. And before you look up, you spent 3 years and have nothing done and nothing to show for it in the dissertation process. And I've seen it happen a lot from a lot of my classmates. When I was a student, I've had people reach out to me. Literally, I had somebody DM me and said, I don't need the accountability. I don't have the time to finish my dissertation. I'm like, well, why are you asking me for help if you don't have the time and you're not willing to put the accountability in place to hold yourself to getting things done and to making the time for yourself? It absolutely makes no sense. But this what happens is because a lot of you all have done things for free, and because you're doing it for free, you don't value free. And here's what I do know: free or low cost. And this is why the Velocity Group Coaching Program is a mid 4-figure investment. Because how many times, right? Let's just take a book, for example. How many times have you all bought a Kindle book? You're like, yeah, I'm going to read this thing. I'm going to read it. And then next, you bought the Kindle book, $9.99, and the joint just sits in the library collecting virtual dust. And how many times have y'all done that? And that book is just sitting there, and you don't even click on it to like load the book up. It's just in there. You say, oh, I bought the book. It looks good there. I'm going to get to it at some point. And you keep saying, I'm going to get to it. It's because it didn't cost you enough. Imagine if you bought that book and it cost you $5,000 for that book. I best believe you will be downloading that book immediately and flipping through all the pages and reading everything. You probably read it more than once. And so this is what I've come to learn about accountability. Sometimes that you have to start paying for having the accountability in place, because if you're trying to do it on your own, you're not having success. The cost of you staying where you are is not high enough. And what I mean by that is that the cost of you staying stuck has not impacted your pockets, in your mental space, in your family, in enough for you to do something differently. So sometimes it might be the paid opportunity, maybe the route that you have to go to kind of give yourself the push to do everything that you need to get done. Because again, we only pay attention to things that we pay for, and we pay high price for them because we're going to use them to the best of our ability. And literally, I see this all the time with our folks in the Velocity Group Coaching Program. They've been stuck for months, years, and they invest in themselves, mid 4-figure investment to work with us. Then they come in and like, look, I'm going to consume all the curriculum. I'm going to know all the curriculum. I'm going to put the work in. I'm going to do my daily writing that we recommend. I'm going to do all the steps. I'm going to submit my chapter for review from the Done Dissertation coaches. I'm going to schedule that dissertation prep session because I know I have a defense coming up. Like, all these things that folks do when they get in our program is really the key to finishing. But it's because they pay for the accountability and to have that structure in place. And a lot of you all may be saying, I'm not paying because, I could do it myself. But why sit for a year, 2 years, and literally throw away $10,000 for no progress when you can invest $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in yourself and be done in 1 year? Literally, you would have recouped $10,000 to $20,000 by cutting off a year of time. Again, these are the things you got to think about. It's all about accountability structure, and that's what we do in the Velocity Group Coaching Program. And shout out to Ron Miller. He said on Instagram, he said, enjoyed my time in the Dunder Station group. I'm working on my proposal now and will defend before December 26th. Thank you for giving me the confidence to move forward. Shout out to Ron. Congratulations. And Ron was in a unique position when he was in our program in the May cohort. I remember he had before his proposal defense, they have another defense that they had to do. And literally he had like a 1-day notice. And because we had worked on it 2 weeks, 3 weeks before, he was able to immediately jump on for that defense with his program and nail it. And these are the things that we help folks do when they get into the environment and they get the community and they get the accountability. Yeah, shout out to you, Ron. Congratulations. And Ron, make sure you send me a text or email when you have your defense so I can show up if it's available to the public. Because I love one thing that folks know, like my clients, like I love going to defenses because I love to see you all that work with us, like go and just watch you all as scholars. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's a great time. And these are the things though that you need sometimes. If you're trying to do it free, sometimes that works for some folks, and then sometimes it does not. And it makes absolutely no sense to be staying stuck because you're concerned with investing in yourself, whereas you can just invest the money to gain back the time. Again, that's what we're helping you do. We're helping you invest money in yourself so you can gain back the time because now when you get your doctorate, there are so many opportunities to monetize your doctorate that you all don't consider, but you got to get done with the process first. So it makes no sense to waste $20,000, $30,000 in tuition when you can invest 5 to 7,000 in yourself right now and get through the process. And so if that's you, if you're a doctoral student who's been stuck trying to figure it out, but not having any success, trying to do everything free, and it hasn't been working, I would invite you to apply to the Dissertation Velocity Group Coaching Program. You can learn more about the program at www.velocitydissertation.com. And again, it's www.velocitydissertation.com. It makes no sense to be stuck in these programs, y'all. My goal is to help you all get out of the process. My team, our goal, our satisfaction is when you all get done with the dissertation because we know that you all are going to do impactful research that's going to impact the communities and impact our lives, my lives, and the community at large. And there's no need to be stuck when you all could be out doing the work. It's just really key. And a lot of folks are you all are really smart, really insightful people, and I want you all to get through this process. It's just a matter of even if you just use the information and apply it, do something and apply and execute. Because again, accountability provides one aspect, right? But without execution, accountability does nothing for you. And so what you have to consider is that when we put these accountability structures in place, you got to be able to execute on the insights that you have, on your knowledge, on the dissertation, because it all goes for naught if you don't do anything with that. And lastly, for some of you all who may be considering, well, how do I find or what should my accountability partner, who should they be? I mean, sometimes you just got to find them. They can be in your program, which is fine. It's not a requirement. They can be, online. Like there's a lot of accountability folks, again, in our ABD to PhD group, there's like over 100 doc students right there that you can find some accountability with. There are different groups maybe at your university. So maybe not in your doctoral program, but maybe your graduate school has some type of accountability structure where doc students can get together and collaborate and build with each other. Like find the network. There is a network out there for everybody. And here's the thing, when you start thinking about accountability partners, they don't need to be in your discipline. Like we get a lot of students who say like, oh, are you an expert in X discipline? That actually doesn't matter. You have experts on your committee to help you with disciplinary situations or insights, right? And information and content. But when you need accountability, you need someone who's going to show up and be consistent and keep you and hold you to it. It doesn't matter what discipline they're in. That has nothing to do with anything. And even within the same discipline, you all might be doing very different types of dissertations. So it doesn't really matter. A lot of those times, those are excuses you tell yourselves to not get the accountability structure. You might say, oh, I need somebody who does X, Y, and Z. Like, no, you don't need that. You need someone who's going to hold you to it. And again, that's what happens in the Velocity Group Coaching Program. Our coaching program has doctoral students from different disciplines. It's beautiful. Like to have, Ron, who is on Instagram, is doing something kind of in business related in terms of his dissertation. I've had folks who are in nursing, to mechanical engineering, to computer science, to math education. There are so many different ways you can go about this, and having someone who is in your discipline is cool, but it's not necessary. And a lot of times, again, I think you all need to really get over that part of the process and get through this journey so that you can do all the work that you want to do with your dissertation. And Professor Smalls K says, bringing it up right now, accountability partners can help you finish your dissertation in a short period of time. That is an absolute fact. It can definitely do so. I mean, again, I did my dissertation. I wrote everything in 7 months. It took me a year and 1 month to defend, because I was just waiting for folks to come back over the summer break. But literally, having an accountability structure is the key. Like, shout out to Dr. Darren Thompson, who was in our program. He started with us in January 2022, with his proposal. He defended his proposal in April and defended his whole dissertation in July. 7 months beginning to end. Like, it doesn't have to take forever, y'all, to get through this process. When you have the accountability in place, you're willing to put in the work and execute. You got those two combined, you are off to the races, and it makes your life a lot easier. And shout out to Tosh. It was a Tosh Tash 32 just joined on Instagram. Thank you for dropping by. Again, any questions that folks might have, we're talking all things accountability with your dissertation. It doesn't have to be forever, y'all. I want y'all to get through this process and don't let your own mindset and your willingness to be stuck because you haven't paid a big enough price yet to keep you where you are. It makes absolutely no sense. But any questions for folks before I jump off? Thank you for those who are tuning in live. We had to do this at a different time today. If this time works, we might do this in the future at this time frame. If this works for a lot of folks during the lunch hours, want to catch people at lunch. But shout out because today I'm doing we have a presentation we're doing for doctoral students at University of California, Berkeley. So get it ready for that this evening. So shout out to my folks from UC Berkeley. We're going to talk all things dissertation and how to monetize your dissertation. And if this is something that you want to learn more about, feel free to shoot me a DM. We can talk more about how I can come to your university and do workshops and professional development for your doctoral program. That is an option as well. Just shoot me a DM and I'd be happy to talk with you more about that. And thank you to Dr. Robinson, Professor Smalls, for Ron for tuning in today. I really do appreciate y'all for dropping by. And again, any other questions that folks might have, I'll stay on for another minute or so. So Tosh says, nice. That's awesome. I've been working on mine since fall 2021. Perfect. Where are you at in the process, Tosh? Are you in the are you past proposal defense or are you still trying to get through proposal defense? And again, if you want to come up, shoot me a message. I can bring you up if you want to have a more questions. So Tosh, feel free. If you want to request to come on live, that's fine as well. Yeah, because I hate for folks to be stuck in this process, y'all. That's my one goal is to get people out of this journey. However we can, we got to get you all done. Yeah, is it Tash or Tosh 32? Yeah, let me know. What are you working on currently? Dissertation, proposal, or final defense? And I'll stay on Instagram for another minute or two. If there are no more questions, I don't see anything popping up. Let me just double check LinkedIn and then I will jump off for the afternoon. Again, I hope you all enjoy this. If you could do me a favor, it would really help if you share this on your feed, Instagram, share it in your stories, share it somewhere, share it with a friend. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube page. Wherever you find us, please subscribe and follow because we do these usually weekly. So we're going to talk about different aspects of the dissertation process. So just make sure that you stay locked in with us so we can help you get through the process. All right, I don't see any questions with that. Again, thank you all so much for dropping by and tuning in. This is another episode of Done Dissertation Office Hours. I'm Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that doctoral students can write and defend their dissertation in 1 year or less. If you're a doctoral student who needs support to get through the process, please feel free to join us in our Velocity Group Coaching Program. So the whole goal of the Done Dissertation Velocity Group Coaching Program is to help you over the next 4 months write and defend your dissertation proposal or final defense in the next 4 months. So if you're a doctoral student who wants to get done with the dissertation quickly, what I want you to do is visit www.velocitydissertation.com to learn more about our program and to apply. Again, I look forward to catching up with you all on the next episode of Done Dissertation Office Hours. I hope you have a great week. Talk with you all soon. Take care.